Paul White, you're a member of the Congress, and this is your first time at a World Forum for Democracy, I believe. You've been attending two labs, number 1 and number 18. What were your impressions of the forum, and what are you going to take away back to your constituents in Lancashire?
I think the forum's been really useful. There are a lot of people here with a lot of very different ideas. It's useful to see how people would see those ideas fitting in their own countries and their own constituencies, and it's clear that there's a huge difference in how people view democracy around Europe and around the world, how people view that being really petered down to a very local level. So in Lab 1 we were talking about democracy schools and things like that, and how people really want there to be complete control given to the pupils in those schools as to what they learn, and that may work in some places and not in others. In the final lab that I went to, we were talking about intergenerational learning, and that's something that really interests me. I'm the chair of a board, a school board in Lancashire, and that's something we're just starting to look at, not just how children can learn from other generations, which is incredibly important, particularly with things like history, but how children can teach older generations, and that's particularly important as we have such an aging population, and we have kids that are so up to date with technology, and they can teach a great deal about the world they're living in. And one of the participants said, we're learning about the troubles of past generations, but it's important that older generations now are learning about the troubles of younger generations, which are completely different in terms of social media and things like that. So that's been a huge learning curve for me. I'm going back to my constituency, and we're going to trial some more of that. We're going to trial, we're currently trialling where different generations and parents and grandparents come in and have school lunches with the children. So it's not about the formal learning setting, but about children having the opportunity to mix with older generations, but also older generations who are typically quite lonely, and we've got some NHS funding for this to get some social mobility for them and out into the community.
And as a councillor in Lancashire, you're closely involved in grassroots initiatives on education for democracy. What lessons are you going to take back from your discussions that you've heard in those labs and generally?
I mean, I think this is something we've started to do, particularly in some of the schools in Lancashire, around allowing more democracy in the schools. I think in Britain we've had a very constrained school system where it's been very top-down. I think that's changing now. I was the treasurer of a students' union. We were given quite a lot of control at sort of higher education level, but now it's looking at how, even at a primary and high school level, we can give some real control, not tokenism control to children. I might not go as far as some of the participants would in terms of allowing all control on when you were taught and what you were taught, but I think it's time to give some real control even to primary school children about their learning environment, and that's something we've been trialling. But I think really the forum has taught me that it's okay to give away more control. So particularly about the school day and the learning environment, maybe the curriculum is something that we do have to guard slightly, but in terms of the learning environment, I think it's taught me that it's okay, and from the experiences I've seen, it's not a risky thing to try giving away that control.
County Councillor Paul White, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.